Hi, everybody. This is my first attempt at this, so please be patient. As you see, I'm going to talk about food insecurity for my social justice project. And the neighborhood I chose is East Harlem, which is where I do my field placement. My slowly developing idea to leave my 34-year career, food service career behind and move into social work. Part of the decision was, again, slowly figuring out what to do. And I felt like to give back, a great way to give back would be to work on food security and tackle the whole concept of food deserts with, my background. Um, so when this project came to mind in the I don't know what module it was, 3. I said immediately that I was going to do food insecurity. And so here we are. Now, food insecurity is a social and economic condition that limits or makes it uncertain if people have access to enough nutritious and affordable food to live healthy lives. It can affect individuals, households, and neighborhoods. So this is all from Feeding America, which is a website I'll link at the end in my references. So you can view through both a social and economic lens food insecurity. It's a relative dynamic of local conditions. And there's other inputs like war or genocide. Food insecurity can serve as a nefarious purpose. They cut food off and bad things happen, disease and starvation. So in the United States, insecurity equals inequity. So unlike other systemic neglect, lack of affordable and nutritious food presents imminent impact on survival. So, it's something we need every day. So the effects of undernourishment extend to physical health, mental health, and vocational or educational well-being. 44 million people in the United States are food insecure. So with 350 million people in the country, that's a heck of a lot. 13 million children in the United States are food insecure, and 100% of the counties in the United States are insecure. So that's every county. And that's sort of a daunting statistic, the last one. And obviously it really gets to your head spinning and starting to figure out ways that you may see this in your daily life and what you may be able to do about it. So here we have a chart which shows that 87.2% food households are secure, while 7.7 are low food security and 5.1 are very low. So those are the ones we're worried about. So the insecurity and security, the ready, available, nutritionally adequate and safe foods, the assured ability to acquire acceptable foods in socially acceptable ways. So that is without resorting to emergency food supplies, scavenging, stealing, or other coping strategies. Food insecurity is the limited or uncertain availability of nutritionally adequate and safe foods, or limited or uncertain ability to acquire acceptable foods in socially acceptable ways. So a lot of the measurement of food insecurity, we may get into this later, is the distance that you have to travel to get good food. So hunger is an uneasy or painful sensation caused by lack of food. And then the measurements are high security, marginal food security, low and very low security, as we saw in that chart, the pie chart. Institutional assistance. So in my field placement, one of the main roles we play is to work on people's entitlements and their benefits. And I've talked about in a video at some point about the SNAP, or Supplemental Assistance Program. And of course, there's the school lunch program, WIC, which is Women, Infants, and Children program. I just want to mention SNAP. The video I did was when about 10 of our residents and about 60 person building had their SNAP benefits skimmed. So they lost their 291 and 74 cent benefits for the month. So they had to go the rest of the month without their, that's something they depend on, which is their food, their money for food. Luckily, they got food provided by the facility, so at least their 3 meals a day were provided. Now, let's remember a lot of the COVID response measures that the government took. One was the American Rescue Plan, and that included a child tax credit. So when they use the word credit in this type of legislation, it means a direct payment. So it was up to $1,600 per child, and that, you'll see, took a lot of children out of poverty. So a food desert, I mentioned earlier, just that word itself, like the phrase itself, is very intriguing. And I think once we hear it, it sticks with us. So food deserts can be described as geographical areas where residents access to affordable, healthy food options, especially fresh fruits and vegetables, is restricted or non-existent due to the absence of grocery stores within convenient traveling distance. That's what I mentioned earlier. So, as we know in the city, you get around pretty easily with mass transit and so forth. But that doesn't make it convenient to have to go several neighborhoods away to get something good to eat. However, there are other barriers, of course, besides distance. That is cost, time, and education. So there are about 750,000 New York City residents living in food deserts. And we'll cover more of that later. So it's a lot more than you think. And a big city like New York obviously would have a lot of opportunities for misrepresentation, like food deserts. So East Harlem, New York, okay, where I've done my field placement. It's a neighborhood in northeastern Manhattan and has a diverse population of 120,000 people, a variety of ethnicities and nationalities and incomes. As of 2022, the demographics of East Harlem were, and we're going to talk about race, so almost 50% Hispanic, Black, white, Asian, and it goes down the line. Household incomes, 31.3% of the households made less than $20,000, with a median household income of $36,930. Poverty is 38.2% of the residents, compared to citywide, which is 18.3%. So you see it's a bit higher in poverty level. And then foreign born is 26% were born outside of the United States. So that's a snapshot of East Harlem. Now, you can safely say that it's universally oppressed. The neighborhood struggles to support itself. So inadequate maintenance and aging public housing infrastructure, development pressures, and rising costs of food and other commodities make living conditions difficult and contribute to high rates of preventable health conditions among public housing residents. So what are these conditions we're talking about? Well, it's all the things you hear about when it comes to food and diet and health issues. So it's obviously high blood pressure, heart disease, and all the things that go along with that. So it makes it difficult. Now, let's see what's next. So increasing accessibility. So now we're starting to figure out ways to correct that, right? Obviously, diabetes is another illness that I didn't mention on the last slide. There are 2 tenants in my building who have had some of their leg amputated because of diabetes. So, it's not good when you start to see things like that happen. So to meet the unique barriers of food accessibility in New York City, Kennedy et al. Note the cost of living is 70% higher than a national average. A food voucher program was tested to meet needs beyond SNAP. Okay, so as I mentioned, the individual was getting $271.94, I think it was. I may have said that wrong originally, but it's $271.94. Not a lot of money for the month, right? That's not even $100 a week. The success of the pilot program was measured in the category of food purchased, right? So it's like, okay, let's give people more money and see what they purchase. And then the data they received revealed that the participants purchased mainly meat, so protein, such as red meat, poultry, fish, pantry staples, so the things to use to cook those, so salt, spices, oils, and fresh produce items that are relatively expensive and not typically found in food pantries. We had a tenant's room cleaned recently, and I came into work on Monday, and there were, I think it was 4 milk crates full of food from the pantry. So the guy was a bit of a hoarder, and he had crate after crate after crate of canned food and bagged dried beans. So none of it was, obviously not at the pantry where he was picking this up. He wasn't getting fresh produce. He was getting, canned green beans, actually meat in a can, which I don't think I've ever seen before. Um, so not the healthiest stuff, right? Now, accessibility equals awareness. So Harlem is actually going to be the birthplace of a great response. So 2 initiatives in New York City provide opportunity for fresh, healthy, and sustainable food choices. One is called Harlem Grown. It was begun in 2011 by a gentleman named Tony Hillary. He transformed an empty lot on 134th Street, which started a program that now collectively over 14 sites grows just shy of 6,000 pounds of organic produce. And they have free farmers markets every Wednesday and Saturday, but it's also provides nutrition education, cooking demonstrations, and recipe writing, right? So a lot of the hesitation or the not buying in is seemingly more difficult to produce food with fresh fruit and vegetables. So a little bit of education goes a long way. I mean, something that I would come up with in my head if I needed to teach a group of people a way to eat healthier at home and not spend a lot of money. So it would be those dried beans, and it would be grains and protein. So you can grill chicken and keep it in a refrigerator. You can meal prep, chili. You can meal prep beans and grains. You can meal prep all kinds of things. Turn that produce into something that's going to last. The next thing that was started under the Bloomberg administration is something called green carts, and they offer produce cart permits to underserved people. So that's the first benefit. So people who don't normally get the opportunity to get permits to sell things will get these permits, but they have to locate their cart and vend in a food desert in one of the 5 boroughs. So green carts offer cheaper prices than local bodegas, as well as acceptance of food stamps and culturally appropriate foods in immigrant neighborhoods. So one thing I didn't bring up yet are the types of stores that are available in these neighborhoods. So why are they food deserts? Well, the nearest supermarket is blocks away or neighborhoods away. There's many stats out there about how neighborhoods fell apart once the A&P left or the food town left. So people resort to bodegas. That's sort of a New York phenomenon. So it's like a small food store that often has a counter where you can order sandwiches, but it also has, dish detergent and fuses. It has everything. And they keep processed foods and prepackaged foods. The only thing fresh are those sandwiches, but they're made with deli meat, right? So it's not the best place to buy healthy food. So you need a supermarket. So the closest supermarket to my field placement is a food town. And it's not, there are not a lot of people in the store. I'm not really clear how the store stays open. Prices aren't any different than my neighborhood. I live in Morningside Heights. A chocolate bar I bought there once was $5, and it's actually $3 in my neighborhood. One of the things I do for my game night, which is my group that I run at my placement, is I provide prizes as well as pizza. So I go buy a pizza, but I go out periodically buy prizes, and I go to the Family Dollar or Dollar Tree. It's a Dollar Tree, and I was amazed that they had so much food at that store. I didn't know that they had food, and again, it's all frozen or prepackaged processed food. So that store is full. So you would have to wait in line at the Dollar Tree and get right to the register when you went to food. Here are my references. Again, it's an abundant topic. I could talk about it, or you can do a presentation about this for a very long time. So hopefully you enjoyed this and it piques your interest and you look into it yourself.